Right, so welcome back to another video on this channel, and of course Norwich City have just been promoted from the Championship once again at the first time of asking after being relegated in last season's Premier League season. And overall, in this video what I'm going to be doing for you guys is analysing my reasons as to why I think Norwich at this time of asking will stay up in the Premier League in their first season back. But before we get into this video, I think I have one thing to do, so yeah, 1 second there. Okay, so we're ready now. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't be the type of video I'd want to make if I wasn't wearing my very own Norwich City kit. And before everyone in the comments goes absolutely mental and goes, "You're plastic, you're this, that, and the other," my brother supports Norwich, so they're basically my second team. So basically, I have a free pass in owning a Norwich City jersey. So yeah, basically, let's get into this video now without further ado. Starting off with the main reason, and one thing I want to say: if Norwich are going to survive in the Premier League next season, the first thing they have to do is spend money. They have to get their investment right, and I think it goes without saying for any team that comes into the Premier League from the Championship, any team that gets promoted, they have to get their investment right. And I'm afraid to say, the last time they came up, they really didn't. I mean, they signed a few loan players that just didn't even work out, never really played, like Ralph Farman, Ibrahim Amadou. They signed Josip Dermot on a free transfer who never really played and wasn't actually that great in general. So yeah, if Norwich are to survive in the Premier League this season, they have to get their investment right. And they've already signed a few players as well, because I think the last time they came up, they signed like £1 million or something like that, and the likes of Sam Byron, those kind of players who actually only cost them a total of £1 million all overall. But yeah, I think already they've made 3 of their loans permanent, that in their contract when they were loaned out to Norwich, there was obligations to buy in their contract if they did in fact go up. And of course, now that that's happened, I think they have Dimitris Janilis, Ben Gibson, and I think Javi Quintilla have all signed permanent contracts now with Norwich, or at least will do in the next coming months once the transfer window does start to open. But yeah, nevertheless, basically I think Norwich, if they want to survive realistically, they probably need a centre back to partner with Ben Gibson, probably another midfielder alongside Ollie Skip. If they do keep Ollie Skip as well on loan, that would be massive for them. I think they need a striker to compete with Teemu Pukki, because even though Pukki is a really good striker, especially at Championship level, when he was in the Premier League in the other season, even though he scored 10 goals or something like that, they were all ready to the start of the season, and they kind of did tend to dry up around Christmas and New Year's time. So overall, I think that Norwich need probably about 3 or 4 signings, and yeah, if they do that and actually get it right, I think Norwich have a really good chance of staying up, because they all need to do really is just build around the players they already have, like Emiliano Buendia, Ollie Skip, Teemu Pukki, Todd Cantwell, Tim Krul, all those kind of players. So I think they do have a really good squad, Norwich, at this moment in time, and they just need a few improvements to obviously secure themselves as a Premier League club beyond next season. Another thing as well they have to do is they have no choice, they have to keep Emiliano Buendia. He is so important to this Norwich team, and not only is he important to this Norwich team, but he is an absolutely unbelievable footballer. I still don't know how they managed to keep a hold of him in the Championship. I think he's like top of the list in terms of chances created or something like that in Europe, in all of Europe, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, I think that he's a really good player on the ball in terms of his dribbling. He's a skillful player with flair. His end product is brilliant. He gets goals and assists for fun, and also off the ball as well. His movement, his tenacity, his aggression, his work rate, everything about Emiliano Buendia is 100% Premier League level, and definitely should be, by all means, at a bigger club than Norwich. I think even Norwich fans will admit that, but I think if Norwich are to stay up next season, Buendia would be an absolutely integral and key figure in that, and they have to keep Buendia. They have to do everything they can in their power to make him happy and make him want to stay, at least for the short term anyway. So yeah, Norwich, if they want to stay up, have to keep Emiliano Buendia, and probably Ollie Skip as well on another loan wouldn't hurt whatsoever, because he's been really good in that midfield pivot with Kenny McLean for Norwich this season. And yeah, one of the main reasons why I think Norwich will be a little more equipped for the Premier League this time around than they were, of course, when they got promoted in 2018-19. I think Norwich have shown that they're probably too good for the Championship, because let's be honest, they completely steamrolled and just walked through the Championship this season, and I think that they have that experience under their belts now, this squad, the likes of course, as I named, Tim Krul, Max Aarons, those kind of players who have been in the Premier League before, Todd Cantwell, Pukki, Buendia, as I said, who've already been in the Premier League and of course did suffer relegation. But I think Norwich will be a lot better equipped to come into the Premier League this season, knowing that they have already experienced the year of it. They know how tough it is, they know the tough demands of the Premier League, and I think if they can adjust to that this season, I think they have a very good chance of staying up, simply because I think that they're used to the Premier League now. They know how tough it is, and I think they know what to expect from it, really. And yeah, those players like Emiliano Buendia and Todd Cantwell and those kind of players, etc., like Max Aarons as well, who of course probably could have left Norwich when they went down. I think it was really important for them to band together, like Max Aarons I think said on Twitter, I think I saw, they band together, they said, we're going to get us back into the Premier League and then see what happens from there. I think that was really important, and of course I think Norwich have to some extent some unfinished business in the Premier League, going by the words of Max Aarons and those kind of players. And overall I think that Norwich, will want to do really well in the Premier League next season, mainly just to prove people wrong as well, because if you go on Twitter or Instagram or any social media page that Norwich are on, and you see all the tweets about Norwich going up, and all that sort of stuff, every single comment, or nearly every single comment anyway, is spammed by commiserations on relegation next season, yo-yo club, they're going straight down. So I think this Norwich team, especially Daniel Farke as well, will want to prove a lot of people wrong, and I think they definitely will do so this time round with being more equipped in the Premier League this season. Another big reason as well why, one of the main reasons they've gone back up is they've opted for continuity, and Daniel Farke, I really like what Norwich have done, and we all know that Norwich are a club that don't really like to spend that much money, mainly because they don't really have it, but their owners, you cannot doubt they care about the club, and I think they've done an absolute brilliant job in not sacking Daniel Farke, remaining faithful with him, and overall they've got their just reward because, as I said, they steamrolled to the Championship this season. I think a lot of teams, probably before Norwich would have been relegated last season, probably would have jumped ship with Daniel Farke, got someone in like Sam Allardyce or Tony Pulis or someone like that to try and save them at all costs, really, and I think that they've done really well in keeping faith with Daniel Farke, letting him, continue the process, and that is one of the main reasons why they're back in the Premier League. And of course, this is a squad that Daniel Farke has built from scratch. Nearly every player, if not all players in this team, have come from Daniel Farke's regime, and that is why I think that Norwich have a really good chance of staying up this season because of the continuity and the fact that Daniel Farke fully knows this squad, inside and out. And as I said, he's been there in the Premier League with this Norwich team, and I think they'll be a lot more equipped this season, as I keep saying. And yeah, the continuity is a brilliant factor and a main reason why I think Norwich will do so well next season and going forward. And I think about Norwich as well, I think a lot of people kind of, to some extent, misjudge Norwich when they actually went up and when they were in the Premier League last season, because I think a lot of people actually do know that if you watch Norwich. They're a very good team that play high energetic, high pressing football. The brand of football they actually play is really exciting. The passing, the patterns of play are something else, and I think they're one of the best teams to ever come out of the Championship in an actual football playing sense. And I think if they were to bring that to the Premier League next season and actually try and do what they tried to do in the 1920 season, but unfortunately the defence kind of let them down, and in the end they kind of didn't get to play it as much as they would want to. But I think if they can come into the Premier League with this positive mindset and the positive attitude they have in the way they play football, I think they will be a very entertaining team for a lot of people to watch in the Premier League next season, especially with the players they have, as I said, like Buendia, Cantwell, etc., who are very good players as well and are definitely Premier League standard in my opinion. And I think as well they have to be a little less leaky at the back this time around as well, because I think when they came up, in 1920, as I said, they did concede quite a lot of goals. I mean, you think about the games like the 5-1 against Aston Villa, even when they got relegated 4-0 against West Ham at Carrow Road, they really need to cut, conceding goals out of their game, Norwich. And I think if Ben Gibson, of course, already experienced Premier League life with Middlesbrough as well, did really well with Middlesbrough, even though they went down that season. If they're getting another centre back, they have Max Aarons at right back and Janulis at left back and Tim Krul in goal. That's not a bad back five to have in the Premier League, and I think Norwich are probably going to rely on outscoring teams more than actually not conceding goals. But at the end of the day, one thing that plays a massive factor in staying up in the Premier League is clean sheets and the lack of conceding goals, and if Norwich can get that right, they have absolutely every chance of staying up next season in the Premier League. But yeah, that is basically it for this video. In terms of the rest of the Championship, I mean, it is going to be a really nail-biting finish between the likes of Watford, who I think are probably up at this stage, even though they still have to play Norwich, Swansea and Brentford around them. Fair play to Norwich for getting back into the Premier League with the continuity and the style of football. They've been absolutely unbelievably breathtaking this season to watch, and yeah, hopefully now they can stay in the Premier League next season. I think it would be really good, not just for them because of the fact that, as I said, all the comments about yo-yo club and all this absolute malarkey, but yeah, I would love to see Norwich stay in the Premier League next season, pretty much for entertainment value, as well as of course my brother supporting them and them being basically my second team. But nevertheless, I'm waffling on for too long. That's where we're going to end this video now. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like, because it means absolutely more than you guys could ever imagine leaving a like on this video. Also make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new as well, because we are now looking to hit 1.6k subscribers on this channel as soon as we possibly can. And yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you guys later.